back to my channel. For those of you guys see my face for the very first time, my name is Esmeralda, but most people like to call me Esme. And if you guys aren't yet subscribed, please make sure to hit the little red button. I would really appreciate it. So for today's video, I thought I would answer some of your guys' travel related questions because I have been receiving a couple on some of my past travel vlogs and on Instagram stories. So I thought I would just make a video dedicated to answering those questions. So if you guys are interested in solo travel tips, or any in general travel questions, make sure to keep watching. So I have all the questions here on my phone. I did post a story on my Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on there yet, make sure to follow. I am pretty active on there and I like to interact with you guys. So I told you guys to ask me any questions that you guys may have related to traveling, solo traveling. So the first one that I have on here is, what is your favorite place that you have visited this year? So I have not traveled that much this year. I went to Puerto Rico in May and then Miami in June, and I loved Puerto Rico. It was my first time visiting, so I had heard a lot of nice things about it. I specifically went to San Juan. I didn't go for a lot of time. I went for 3 nights, I believe, and the days flew by, but I had such a great time exploring. The food was amazing. Prices were really reasonable. Food, Ubering wasn't that expensive, and even the flight wasn't that bad, but I really loved it, and it honestly reminded me so much of Miami. There's like a similar vibe, but as you guys know, I love Miami, so I can't really choose like a favorite place. Maybe if I would have gone to more places, I would have been able to answer this question, but I love both Miami and Puerto Rico. The next question I have on here is, what is the best airline to fly with? And personally, I have tried a couple. So I've tried United, Spirit, American, and Frontier as well. Frontier and Spirit are pretty similar, but my favorite to travel has to be American Airlines. I know a couple of people have had issues with them, but I have never had any issues when traveling with them. My flights have never been delayed where I had to like wait at the airport. Their customer service is pretty good. They communicate with you really well if there's like any changes prior. Like if the gate changes or if the flight changes by a couple of minutes, they'll let you know. I actually flew back home from Puerto Rico with Frontier and I didn't have any issues. The only thing I would say is that the flights tend to be cheaper with Frontier and Spirit, but then you have to pay for luggage. And with American Airlines, you get to take a personal bag and a carry-on with free of charge, which I really like. So you have to remember when choosing an airline that cost might be additional. And the next question on here was, I'm going to Orlando this October. Any recommendations on hotel stays? So I have only been to Orlando twice, like in recent years. I went as a kid and I couldn't even tell you what I did because I have terrible memory, so I couldn't tell you where I stayed. So I don't have a specific hotel to recommend. If you are going for the Disney World parks, I would recommend looking into hotels that are near the park and might have a shuttle that will take you to the parks for free. That's more of like an affordable option. I know Disney offers packages with hotels that you can stay at, but I know those can be really pricey. So my family and I have gone to Disney World. We have always stayed at hotels that are like 25-30 minutes away from the park. They're not too far away. I would also recommend looking at reviews and actually spend time reading the reviews. So I always like to read the reviews and just make sure, you know, cleanliness is top on my list. If the staff is not that friendly, I don't really mind because I feel like I'm not going to be interacting with them that much. But I also look at the safety, you know, is the surrounding area safe? And maybe having free breakfast is top priority on your list. So personally, I use Expedia when booking flights and hotel. And on Expedia, they have the option where you can filter out exactly what you want to look for. If you want to stay at an Airbnb versus a hotel, if you want the hotel to have a pool, free breakfast, a washer or dryer inside the room. So that's why I really love to use Expedia, because you can kind of look for options based off of your expectations and what you would want. So the next question is, do you travel alone? If so, do you get anxious? So I have yet to do a completely solo trip. I did travel alone to Puerto Rico. Like, I flew out there by myself and I spent half of the first day on my own being a tourist, and I was anxious for that trip because it was my first time going to Puerto Rico. I didn't know what to expect. I saw some people say that it was safe, others saying, you know, watch your belongings, be careful because people are getting robbed. So I was pretty anxious for that trip, but once I got there and I checked into my hotel and I got ready for the day and I actually went out and explored, I honestly felt really calm, and it got me excited about doing another solo trip, which was supposed to be my trip to Miami back in June, but my sister ended up joining me like 3 days into the trip. So I was only there alone for 2 days, and so I got to experience what it would be like to travel solo. And the only recommendation I would give you guys is that if you are planning on doing a solo trip, is that, like myself, I went somewhere that I had already visited and I was pretty familiar with, so I knew what to expect, what areas to kind of avoid at night, and so I didn't feel anxious those 2 days that I was by myself. And I know some people are a little bit nervous about traveling alone because they don't know how they're gonna feel eating alone at a restaurant and doing activities by yourself, but it was honestly really peaceful and calming, and it gave me a lot of time to self-reflect. What I would recommend is that if you're anxious or nervous about traveling alone, is that you should take a day or two to do that type of stuff in your own city where you live. Maybe go out for some coffee and sit at the coffee shop. Have a day planned of activities that you can do by yourself to see how you enjoy spending time with yourself. So the next question is hotel or Airbnb when it comes to solo traveling. So like myself, I have seen several other women who travel alone recommend to do hotel. I have never done Airbnb, not even when traveling with friends or family. I don't really trust that. There have been some cases where there's hidden cameras, where the owner will go into the place that they're renting without permission, and personally I would rather not deal with that. I know some people that have great experiences with Airbnb and they recommend it because it's cheaper, but I always feel safer booking a hotel room, and hotels tend to have security in their lobbies, so I just feel like that's another factor that makes me feel safer, especially if I'm traveling alone. Do you have travel hack, credit card points, or just look for affordable flights? So basically I just spend a lot of time looking for flights. I do a lot of research. Again, I use Expedia because I have found that they tend to have more offers. But basically, I just spend a lot of time looking throughout the week, and I'll check flight prices a couple of times throughout the day. So maybe I'll check early in the morning, midday, in the evening. Sometimes prices will drop past midnight. So if I'm looking for a flight and I don't like the prices that I'm seeing, I'll maybe stay up one night and look at what prices are at like 2 a.m. I have been wanting to get a airline credit card. I haven't yet. That is definitely something that I'm looking into. The next question is, how do you find where to stay? Do you look at prices, locations, safety? I guess I look at all three. I'll honestly start by looking at reviews, and then based off of that, I'll see if the price is worth it. But I would rather pay more to stay at a place that is clean and is within distance of different attractions that I want to go see, but I'm not spending more money on transportation because then it does add up and it's not worth staying somewhere that's cheaper. As for safety, I'll look at reviews and see what anyone has to say about the area where the hotel is. Next thing on here is, what's the first thing you do when you start budgeting and or planning? So I'm a big money saver. I'm always trying to save money just because I know things come up in the future and I want to be prepared for that. But as for planning, I love to do an itinerary, so that way I know what to expect on my trip. I know where I'm gonna go eat, what activity I'll be doing certain days. I think having an itinerary is a great idea because you're able to plan out your days and choose restaurants or activities that you want to do ahead of time, and you don't waste time while you're on your trip trying to decide where to go eat, what to do, what to see. And for example, if you're gonna do a boat ride, you're able to look for ticket options online prior to being there, and you're able to see what's the best option for you. And you're also buying these things ahead of time, so it kind of feels like you're not spending so much money because you're buying it gradually. But in addition to that, if I'm traveling with someone, I always ask them ahead of time if they would like to join me, and then I'll plan the dates around holidays if I have something important going on and I want to make sure I'm in town so that I don't miss it. I'll also look into that. But my number one recommendation when planning is to plan ahead. So don't wait till the last minute to book your flights, your hotels, because prices do go up. I know things tend to come up, and so that's why people like to book things later, because they don't know if they have something going on. But that's why you can pay a little extra for insurance, and that way you're able to cancel and still get your money back. Next one is an interesting question. It is any tips for first time traveling in plane? I have been traveling since I was pretty young. I don't remember how old I was when I took my first flight, but I believe I was a toddler, so I was really little. And I know some people get nervous and getting on a plane because of turbulence or stuff like that. But I guess if I were to give you a tip, is that if you're flying a short distance, the time does go by fast. Maybe take a couple of things that you can do on the plane so that you're distracted, like reading a book, doing a crossword puzzle. Make sure you download some music that you can listen to on your phone, or watching a movie or TV shows will definitely make the time go by fast. And if you're someone who's super nervous and anxious, I would recommend drinking some chamomile tea so that you're calm, doing some breathing exercises, and just reminding yourself that everything's gonna be okay. The plane is in God's hands, and He will make sure that you will get to your destination safely. What is your favorite thing about traveling? So honestly, what I enjoy the most about traveling is that it helps you get out of that routine that you're in, and it brings me some peace. I feel like I'm always relaxed when I'm traveling because I'm not thinking about everyday life, and honestly, it's a distraction from any issues or problems that I'm dealing with. It's a getaway for some time where you can keep your mind off of any problems or stress. And it can get expensive because you're eating out, you're buying things, you're going to do different activities, see different attractions, but you know, life is too short, so you have to enjoy it, and I think the best way to do so is through memories. The next question is, what is one place you really want to travel to? And honestly, I have a long list of places that I still need to go visit. I would say my top two right now are Greece and Italy. I really want to go to those two places, so God willing, I'm able to travel there soon. What are 3 things you can't travel without? So the first thing would be my phone, so I can navigate, take pictures. The second would be my vlog camera, so I can vlog my trips for you guys and have memories to look back on. And third, I would have to say fanny pack. I love having a fanny pack when I'm traveling. It's just super easy to reach for stuff, and it's really light and super secure. All right, I have 2 questions left. The next one is, do you prefer a window seat or the aisle seat? And personally, I don't mind either. I have actually never used the restroom on a plane. I have no idea what the bathrooms look like, so I don't mind sitting by the window. I know some people prefer the aisles just in case they need to use the restroom. That way they don't have to bother the people that they're sitting next to if they need to use the restroom. So I wouldn't mind the window seat. I also love looking outside the window, looking at the clouds when the plane takes off, when we land. But I also don't mind the aisle seat. I like being there. I feel like there's more space, but if I had to choose, I would choose the window seat. I just hate the middle seat because either the person in the window is constantly passing by to use a restroom, and you can't sleep well because then you feel like you're gonna lean into either of the people next to you and fall asleep on them. That's honestly always a fear of mine. And the last question is, what's the best thing about solo traveling? And I would say that when you're traveling alone, you don't have to worry about what anyone else wants to do. You focus on yourself. You wake up at whatever time you want to wake up. If you want to get up extra early to go watch the sunrise, you're able to do it, and you don't have to worry about someone making you late. You can go check out any restaurant you want without hearing complaints about someone not wanting to go or that they didn't like that place. You're able to go out and explore by yourself at your own timing, at your own pace. And yeah, pretty much you focus on yourself. You're able to choose the hotel you want to stay at, how long you want to be there for, and even the flight times, because some people prefer to take early flights, but you might want to sleep in, and so you don't want to take a super early flight. I know traveling alone might sound a little bit scary, but there's actually a lot more advantages than you may think. So those are all the questions that I'm going to be answering today. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer in this video, make sure to comment them down below and I'll respond to them through there. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on my post notifications so that you're notified when my next video goes up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!